So you're thinking about buying a timing system for track and field. What systems do I need? Do I get everything I need out of the box? What are the pros? What are the cons? How do I learn the system? Well, my name is Josh Klein, and for 15 years I was a professional track and field timer, traveling through the US, Canada, timing and scoring major meets such as Kansas Relays, Drake Relays, SEC, Big 10, Big 12, NCAA, and Canadian Championships. I also was a co-instructor for the NACAC International Photo Finish Judge panel, and I'm also a member of that panel. And I'll go into the details of what these systems are, how they work together, and what else you'll need in order to be successful. Just so you know, this video is not sponsored by any of the companies I'll talk about, nor am I receiving any sort of payment for this video. This is 100% my honest opinion and feedback on the items that I'm talking about in this video. So before we get into what types of systems there are, and there are quite a few, I need to be honest and upfront with you. None of these systems are user-friendly or easy to use. Despite what anyone may tell you, you'll need to practice and learn how the systems work. Repetition is going to be the key to your success. And if you're a coach and you're looking at this, keep in mind that your job should be to coach, not running the system for your meets. Understanding things is great, but you shouldn't be the primary operator. So you'll need to make sure that you have people, yes people, not a single person, trained on these systems. If you've been hand timing your meets, odds are you have some reliable volunteers who are always there. Those are the people you want, the ones that are always there. If some of those people happen to have a strong computer background or understand track and field, that's even better. But outside of the equipment itself are the people. If you'll not have consistent help at every single meet, then stop the video here. Buying a system is not going to be a worthwhile investment for you, your program, your athletic department, or your school. One of the biggest issues is people buy a system because they get the money donated and think it'll be just something they can learn a week or two before the first meet. You can try to do that, but you're going to fail, and fail terribly. You'll get frustrated, and the system will end up in a box, in a closet, unused. And there's a high school where I live near here in Cleveland, and they were donated a $40,000 system at the time. Showed up to the track coach's classroom. It's sat there ever since. I don't think it's been out of the box, and that was around 5 years ago. So let's say you have the people part figured out. How do you learn the system? You need to play and learn by doing. It's the only way that you're going to learn how things work together. There are some timing companies that may have the ability to do some training, but as a whole, they're pretty busy with their own events and they don't have a lot of time to spare, especially during the season. So how do you learn? I'll touch on that at the end of the video. So you have the people. Roughly, how much will a system cost? There's multiple factors that need to be considered. You'll need the camera system, you'll need the computers, networking equipment, software licenses, cabling, printers, web access. All that, you're looking around $30,000 for a full-fledged system. And these costs can go up or down depending on your needs, but for a rough number ballpark, $30,000 is a reasonable price point to start with. So what exactly do you need? The two main components that you'll need are the timing system itself, and the second being the results processing system. Let's start with the timing system first. So in the US, you have a few options that are US based. Sure, there are companies out there like Omega and Algae, but those companies are in Europe and don't have a strong presence in the US. So should you need to send something in for repair, you're gonna send it to Europe. So for those reasons, I wouldn't suggest them. There are other US based companies such as Eagle Eye and Flash Timing that offer a lower cost alternative. Personally, I don't have any experience with those companies, so I can't say anything about their products. But the main manufacturer in the US is Finishlynx, also known as Link System Developers, and they're based in the Boston area. They've been around since 1992, and this is the same system that's been around for numerous NCAA and USA Track and Field championships, not to mention NCAA Division I schools, high schools, and clubs all over the US use these systems. They're by far the system to have if you're looking to purchase a system. This is the system that I learned and I know. The reason I trust it so much is how modular it is and how I can customize my camera due to my needs. Their systems interface with all sorts of scoreboards and video boards so I can get results posted. The other component is the results processing system. There are a multitude of different systems, but the two that seem to be the most stable that I've had experience with are Meet Pro by Direct Athletics and Hy-Tek Meet Manager. Personally, I've used Hy-Tek since 2000 and know it inside and out. Meet Pro, though, has been around for a few years and offers a lot of functionality, especially if you want to customize your result layout and printouts. Both Hy-Tek and Meet Pro allow users to upload results to athletic.net and MileSplit Live. But to me, both have their place. I just have more experience and familiarity with Hy-Tek since I've been using it for so long. What are the costs? Let's start with the results processing system first. Meet Pro offers a yearly license for $200 per year for up to 5 installations. This software includes the photo finish interface, field event interface, scoreboard connectivity, web results. But in order to network computers together to share the same database, it will cost you an additional $500, but include 3 additional licenses, bringing your total up to 8 for $700. Fairly cost-effective price point. Hy-Tek Meet Manager, though, is a little bit more expensive and does allow you to piece things together as you may need. They do offer a gold, silver, and bronze package with additional add-ons, so let's break those down. Just keep in mind that this does not include any of the interfaces where Meet Pro does include the interfaces. Just so you know, these are the costs as of January of 2023. So first, the bronze package at $265. Basically, what you need to run a meet. The silver package is $385. It's the bronze package plus cross-country and road racing module and a multi-age group feature. If you're not going to be timing any cross-country, road racing, or have age group events, you don't need this feature. The gold package, $685, and this includes the silver package and the bronze package, plus combined events, so think the heptathlon, decathlon, pentathlon, age rating feature, ribbon and award labels, and an administration label feature. If you're not going to use those features, then don't spend the money on them. As far as the add-ons, there is a mandatory 10-year yearly support package. You have to pay it no matter what. And if you want to be able to network multiple computers into the database to process results, that will cost you an extra $495. Also, if you want to ship results to the web, be it your own website or use a live results platform like athletic.net or MileSplit Live, you must purchase this option. Photo finish interface. It's $295. And if we're talking about this and you're thinking about buying any sort of timing system, you must have this option. You wouldn't buy a car and not have oil in it, would you? Unfortunately, this does not come bundled with any package with Hy-Tek, so you need to be aware. I've helped a few schools over the years and they thought that they had this feature only to find out that they didn't day of the meet. Please don't make that same mistake. The button finish interface is $99. You'd use this if you're going to time cross-country or road racing and use a button timer such as a Sprint 8 that outputs your times to Hy-Tek. You could also even import RFID timing into Hy-Tek directly. I wouldn't really advise doing it that way, but it is possible. Field event interface is also $99. This allows you to have users at field events using a device such as a tablet or a computer. And those would be on the timing network, and those marks would come in electronically rather than paper and pencil. This is really commonplace at indoor meets and major outdoor meets in the US. Both MileSplit and Athletic.net offer their own application, which will handle the scoring live at the event, but in order to use these apps, or an app such as Finishlynx by Finishlynx, you have to have this license. Scoreboard interface. $495. This allows you to output compiled field event results, both running and field events, to a scoreboard or video board. It will even allow you to output team scores to those same types of boards. So what are we looking at? Hy-Tek, a basic setup would be $265 for the bronze package, $295 for photo finish interface, $10 for support, $495 for live results, for a total of $1,065. If you need the other options, then obviously the price can go up, but that would be the minimum price you'd be looking at as of this time. So now, cameras. How many do I need? It all depends on your track layout and how many finish lines you have. If you only have one finish line and will never wind reverse, then you really only need one camera. Fairly simple. If you have multiple finish lines, then I would suggest you have a camera at each line. You don't ever want to stop a meet, so you can take the camera down, move it to the other side of the track, get it back in alignment, zero test it, and be ready to go. Get the extra cameras. I'll break that down further in a little while, but let's just assume you have a single finish line setup. Finishlynx has gone ahead and made life easy for you and offers various package solutions. However, I will tell you that those are great, and there are ones out there that I would absolutely avoid because they're missing features or items that will make life a lot harder. Someone who's done this for a long time, you want to make your timer's job as easy as possible, and what I'm outlining below will do that for you. First, stay away from the Scholastic package. This was really made to combat some of the really lower cost solutions out there. Some of the negatives of it are that it's not capable of running 1,000 frames a second. It has a very small lens. It's a manual lens. And you'll have to use a scaled down version of the software. So unless you absolutely have to have a system, even then I still have reservations, I would not look at this system. Second is the Bronze package. It's a good entry-level system, but you're going to miss some of the additional features such as automatic capture, high frame rate, remote control lens, and a remote positioner. Third is the Silver package. For $11,500, it takes everything from the Bronze package that I mentioned and adds those items, such as automatic capture. It means you click a button in the software and the camera will take a picture. Think of it like hitting the record button on your phone for a video. With manual capture, you have to have someone manually press a physical button down in order to get a picture. You also will get a higher frame rate of 2,000 frames a second instead of 1,000, and this will help identify athletes more easily, especially in tighter races, assuming you're using more than 1,000 frames per second, which you really should be doing. The biggest advantage is that you can control the zoom, the iris, and the focus of the camera with the remote control lens right from the software. This helps in getting a much better picture, especially as the day and evening goes on, or as your lighting conditions may change. Finally, there's the remote positioner, and that allows you to fine-tune the position of the camera in relation to the finish line. You can pan, tilt, roll the camera from the computer to get your camera on the leading edge of the finish line. If I were buying my system, I would start with this package at a minimum. Fourth is the Gold package for $18,000. This Gold package contains everything that's in the Silver package and adds on the Finishlynx front-facing camera. We'll talk about that in a little bit. In addition to the Finishlynx wireless starting system. This allows the starter to move freely through the facility and not have to drag cabling all over. It also includes a power over Ethernet, aka PoE, Ethernet switch, and finally a 9-digit LED display. And this display can display running time and also results in start lists. There are two additional packages that Lynx offers, the Platinum and the Diamond package. And those are more expensive and offer a few more bells and whistles, but for the best bang for your buck, I think the Gold package is really where that sweet spot is. Those higher end packages that I mentioned also do include everything in the Gold package, plus you will have 2 photo finish cameras instead of just the one. It does swap out the 9-digit LED clock for a small full color LED display, and the Diamond version adds a few other components as well as a full-fledged LED finish line display like you'd see at major college track and field meets. When talking about the Gold package, I mentioned an additional camera called Finishlynx. This is not a timing camera, but it's used by the photo finish operators to help identify the athletes. This camera's been around for over 10 years, and honestly, I really would have a hard time timing without it. It makes my life that much easier, especially in your races that don't finish in lanes, like the 800 and above. And if you're ever going to use this system for cross country or road racing, then you must have this camera. You'll never want to do a cross-country meet without it. Earlier we talked if you had multiple finish lines. Well, you want to get as many cameras as you need to cover those lines. What you can do is get those cameras what's called non-timer enabled. So those cameras will allow you to take a picture at those other finish lines, but they receive their start time and signal from the main camera, which is tied in to the rest of the system. And if you want to have some cost savings, you can get all those other cameras as non-timer enabled, and then over time upgrade them to timer enabled after a year or so. Are there additional options that you should get? Depending on what your governing body says, you may need a wind gauge, and that costs $1,995. The nice thing is that the wind gauge ties directly into your camera and software, and you don't need someone to manually control the gauge. This definitely will be needed at any NCAA level event, and also at the high school level, it would be needed for things such as state records. Lux Boost is another option that I would get, especially if your facility has poor lighting. It's $995, and this allows the camera to boost the ambient lighting. They have Lux Boost 4 and Lux Boost 8. And I feel for track and field that Lux Boost 4 is more than enough. Lux Boost 8 is really for something where you would have very high frame rate, such as motorsports. And I'd also buy small extra parts such as extra transducers for radio links, as those can go bad, and it's a cheap insurance policy. Having a total of 3 is always good. I also buy extra antenna for the radio links transmitter or receiver, as those can be snapped and makes your wireless system worthless. While those 2 small items don't seem like a whole lot, I can tell you that you run the risk of having issues, and should something happen, you have no way to fix it quickly other than ordering new ones the next day. Now, if you're going to post results to a video board or scoreboard, then you must have the network comm plugin. That's $495. You may need to investigate a program to push results to that video board or scoreboard. But for video boards, you could use a program called Result TV, made by Finishlynx, and there's other software out on the market. Result TV will natively work out of the box with and there'll be some configurations you need to make. But with some of those other softwares, you may have to program a scoreboard script and things like that. And the graphics tend to look very good too. As far as mounting the camera, you do get a tripod that goes up to 74 inches. However, that's not really high enough, as you really want to shoot down on the athletes versus a long flat angle where the finishers can be blocked by other athletes. Gill Athletics and UCS Spirit make camera poles that allow your camera to be mounted 10, 12, 13 feet up in the air, which is really what you want, so you can shoot down. I'd rather use that than a tripod, and use the tripod for Identilinks to get that up high. One of the more recent questions I received is, should I get an electronic gun or not? And there's no real simple answer to that question. Presently, there is a shortage of blanks for 22, 32, and 309 caliber starting pistols, and what shells are out there are starting to become very expensive. This has made the demand for the past few years go up for the electronic style starting guns. There are quite a few e-guns out there. Lynx does have a version, and it has some weight and feels like an actual starter's pistol. Gill Athletics makes a small orange pistol-like device, but also now has a version called the Halo that is a ring-shaped device. VS Athletics has a device that looks like a stick. And personally, I haven't worked with any of these a whole lot, and the main complaint that I do hear from people is that the sound just isn't loud enough. The main reason for this is you must have portable speakers to cover the starting area. Coaches, officials, spectators have had issues with hearing the start sound, and outdoors, if you have a bright day, you won't be able to see the strobe on the device flash due to the extreme sunlight. Right now, I wouldn't recommend a particular system, as the only ones that I have seen that are really worthwhile have been put together by other timers putting together their own system with large speakers and batteries, and these are used mainly indoors. Outdoor is a whole different animal with staggers and the number of speakers and protecting the equipment from the elements. Other items that you're going to need are computers, printers, battery backups, network switches, network cables, things like that. And despite what you'd like to think, track and field still relies on good old paper copies of field event sheets and clerking sheets. So as much as we do waste paper in this sport, you're still going to need a printer. Now, with all that said, here's some final tips that I'd like to leave you with. This is an investment over time. The upfront costs are very high, but in order for you to be successful, you'll need to take the time to learn how the software works, how the hardware integrates with the software, and know you're going to make mistakes. This is not an easy process to learn, so start with smaller meets first before trying it out at a big invitational. Reach out to a timer in your area. See if they offer any type of training or consulting to help you understand the system. Keep in mind there are some knowledgeable timers out there, and there are some other timers that just aren't quite as knowledgeable. I've seen my fair share of both of those types of timing companies, so do your research. Get the people you need and retain them. Be prepared to retrain people each year and make updates to your system. Each year, set aside $500 to $1,000 for upgrades and repairs to your equipment. Some years you may not need to do anything, but put it back in the box and get it out the next year. But other years you may want to add such options as Lux Boost or the internal level, or take a camera from being non-timer enabled to timer enabled, and those things do cost money. I'm currently in the process of putting together training videos, such as tips and tricks, for those who want to learn more about Hy-Tek Meet Manager and Finishlynx. And there's going to be a link in the description below that'll take you to a website to provide your information and get feedback from you as to what content you would like to see. Please click on that link below. Give me that feedback, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Thanks again, and have a great day.